So I think to begin with, let me just give you an introduction about myself. So I've been into corporate Pega trainings for about 8 years now. So I take up trainings on different Pega certifications like SA, CCA, CPBA, decisioning consultant and stuff, and also different Pega related frameworks like CRM, sales automation, customer service, marketing, and sort of things. And to give you a context course, the course is all about the business architect certification. Right? So the content, I think you have gone through the content as well. So the content is almost aligned with the Pega Academy. So once the course is done and once you have done like proper hands-on, you will be able to take up the certification as well. Like you will be certification ready, basically.
Okay, that's great.
Right. So, I mean, each session for like each topic, we would be looking at the basic intro of it, the context or the background, you could say. Probably like for every topic, we would spend for like 15-20 minutes for understanding the concept, and rest of it all would be the implementation. And this business architect course, I mean, generally when it comes to a regular BA, which we call business analyst, so I hope you know what a BA does, right?
I'm almost into that kind of role.
Okay. So they are like more to work with the product owners, stakeholders, getting requirements. So all the sort of requirement gathering. Then they segregate them into different stories, epic features, point them with whatever the methodology you're following, depending. Right? Whether you're going it for a sprint or for an iteration. So it's all what they do. Basically sort of, managing what to be taken in the next sprint and sort of stuff. Right?
Okay, great.
And they are the ones who work with these tools called Jira, Kanban board, right? When it comes to Pega's BA, it is a different aspect here. So here you no longer deal with Excel sheets and all. So you would also be involved in the application development. Right? In fact, to be very frank, you are the ones who start the development. Right? So that is why it is called business architect, not business analyst, because you would also be involved in the application development. Okay. So also be looking at a few technical aspects as well. Right? It wouldn't be completely not a theoretical thing. So we would a lot of practical implementation and technical stuff. So definitely that requires a hands-on, right? I mean, both of us are putting in effort and time, and you're putting in your amount, right? So we are putting in your money as well. So let us try to make the most out of it, and definitely hands-on is essential. Hands-on is required.
Yeah, that's why I came to this training. Yeah.
Right. And that too with about like a week's gap for each training. So I mean, we all tend to forget things, right? So in maybe at least 2 to 3 hours, probably whenever you could get some time. So if you just revisit sessions, or you can go through PDN or do some hands-on, that will really helpful.
Okay.
Right. So I think that's the only expectation from my side. A bit of hands-on. We would be discussing these things today. I mean, in the first half, we will be discussing about these. Maybe we'll take a quick 5 or 10 minute break.
Yeah, it's good.
To the next. Yes, correct. We will start understanding what is it about Pega, right? Then what features does it offer, or like what studios it has? How do we work on the implementation, right? So what about the implementation? How can we do it? So we'll be discussing a lot of things about the basic stuff today. Okay. Right. Yeah. So very the frequent one that I get to hear is Pega is a BPM tool, right? So let us start from there, from the basic. Let us understand what is BPM. So let us dig a little deeper into business process, and then we'll come back to understanding. Yeah. Right. To start off with, let us see what is a process. So anything that I could do in order to achieve a particular outcome, I can call it a process. So whenever there are like sequence of some steps or some process or some actions are involved, and in order to achieve something, if I do all of it, I can call it a process. So I make coffee. I can call it a process, right? Because some standard set of steps are there, and I will be able to achieve an outcome out of it, right? My coffee is prepared. So that's the outcome I get. On the other hand, I'm working on a project report, right? So it also involves some series of steps. Like I may need to gather the information, then I may need to segregate it, then I would put it in a representable format, some pictures, diagrams, graphs. So I'll put it in that way. Then I may decide who this report has to be shared with. And yes, that could be called as a process. Right? So anything which involves a series of steps or actions, and when there is an outcome, I can call it a process. Okay, so process is good. What about business process? So can I call every process as a business process? Let's see. So let me read it out. So when I have a collection of related events, activities, decisions that involve a number of actors, resources that collectively lead to an outcome that is of value to an organization or the customers. So if I'm talking about business processes, the most important one is the outcome, right? And this outcome, it should be of value to my organization or for my customers. So otherwise, I cannot call that a business process. Right? So the earlier two scenarios which we discussed, coffee making. So I making coffee, does it add a value to my organization or for my customers? No, right? Maybe until unless I work in cafe coffee day. Otherwise, it doesn't add any value to my organization nor for my customers. But on the other hand, the project report I'm talking about. So if it involves entities like customer satisfaction index or the sales margins or profit margins or the return on investments in the last quarter. So all this is sort of an important information. And if depending upon this, I'm making some decisions or I'm building some strategies, then it is definitely a value to my organization. Correct? So in the second scenario could be called as a business process. So the outcome is the most important thing when we look after business transactions. So is it adding any value to my organization or at least to my customers? Only then I will call it a business process. Now, when we just take up any typical examples, like your claim settlement or probably a loan application or a passport application, or the thing that we regularly do is placing an order online. So how do you receive your product? So all of these are sort of business processes. But how do I prove it? How do I say that they are business processes? In order to call something as a business process, so these 6 entities have to be satisfied. What are those? Events, activities, decisions, actors, resources, and outcome. Of course, outcome is the most important one. Okay, but let us see how these 6 entities will help recognize a business transaction. So I'm just going to take a simple example here where I'm trying to purchase something online. Okay, probably I want to buy a book online. Okay, so what I do, I'll start looking at different e-commerce sites. Probably I finalize on something, maybe Amazon. Okay, now I start searching for the book. So I get different vendors who provide that book. I will not just randomly pick somebody. I will not just randomly pick a vendor. Correct? We look at a lot of reviews. We look at the feedbacks. We look at discounts. Correct? So whichever is offering maybe a higher discount and whichever vendor has better feedback, better reviews, I'll select that particular vendor. And I will proceed on with the payment. Now, when it comes to payment, I can have multiple ways of paying. Right? I can choose internet banking, debit card, credit card, or Amazon reward points, or cash on delivery. Right? So different options are there. So I'm making a decision out of it, and I chose one of the modes of payment, and I've proceeded. Okay? So once the order is placed, what happens next? So the vendor comes into picture. He is the one who, would either accept or reject the order. If he has a stock available, if the inventory is available, he would be accepting the order. Okay. So after which the product goes for packaging. After that, it is moved across the warehouses. It moves on the courier facilities. All of that, it is out for shipping, and then finally out for delivery, where the delivery guy gives you or delivers you the product. So this is a typical transaction that we come across. So let us see if this is a business transaction or not. Okay, so how do I see that? Let me check if all the 6 entities are being satisfied. The first one is event. So I initiating for purchasing a book is an event. Okay. And all the tasks that I perform in the process are called your activities. So what all I have done, I've checked ratings, I've checked discounts, then I've made some payments, I've tracked the order. So all these are your activities, right? And then you have decisions. So what decisions are made here? I made a decision regarding the mode of payment. I chose from different options like cash on delivery, internet banking, credit card, debit card. So I made a decision there. So yes, decisions are involved. Then actors. So who all are the actors here in this transaction? So the first actor would be me, the customer who placed the order. The second actor is a vendor. Then the third or the other actors you could say are your packaging guy, the shipping guy, the warehouse guy, delivery guy. So all these are the other actors. Then you have resources. So what are the resources here? Anything that has helped me proceed with the transaction could be called as a resource. So what all helped me here? Maybe the credit card that you used for making a payment is a resource. Right? Or the trolley in a warehouse could be a resource. Or when the delivery guy comes in, he brings a device for e-signature. So that could be called as a resource. Right? So anything that helps me proceed with the transaction is a resource. And yes, I have resources here. And the final, the most important one is the outcome. So in this scenario, can you tell me what is the outcome here?
Outcome is you have received, in the sense, the transaction of this one.
Correct. So me receiving the product, the book is the outcome.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And is there an outcome for the vendor as well?
Yes,
Did
he is. He has been gaining with it, so he has got a
Correct.
customer.
Exactly. So he has got his payment and he has got a customer also. Right? So this typically is a outcome that we expect. So this you could call as a positive outcome, where I received the book in a good shape. It is the original copy, or it's like the latest version that I've booked. So yes, I'm happy. The customer, the vendor is also happy because he received his amount, and he might well receive a good feedback. But so can I expect this positive outcome always for every customer, for every vendor?
No, there might be a
Correct.
else
Probably
loop.
not. Exactly. I received the book, but it is not the original version, or it's damaged, or it's not a latest copy. So in that case, as a customer, I'm not happy. So what do? I put in for an exchange or for a return. The vendor is also not happy because he has to go through all over the transaction once again.
Yeah, and sometimes might have to reimburse the money back.
Exactly. Yes, he had to probably give the money back as well, right? Which is not a very good outcome there. But irrespective of whatever the outcome might be, it could be positive, it could be negative. So there has to be some outcome for the transaction. So it cannot just go on and on and on. No, there should be a specific outcome that we are attaining out of this transaction. Only then we call something as a business process. Right? So we can take any other real life examples. Like you can take a passport application and you can see whether you have your events, activities, decisions, actors are involved or not, resources are there or not, what is the outcome. So for any business transaction you see, you'll have all these 6 entities being satisfied. Okay, right. So now in the typical example we have seen for placing an order. We have considered this Amazon as the e-commerce organization. Okay. Now, if I ask you to tell me what all other transactions are possible with Amazon, what would be your answer? So one transaction we have seen, or one business process we have seen, is placing an order. So what else? The other transactions. Any guesses? Some random guesses.
What goes in the background is that.
Not exactly.
You mean one more process?
Yes, correct. So what are you with
Process might be between the vendor and the Amazon because they have their how do they keep it in the warehouse, and sometimes it's Amazon one or sometimes it's the transaction between Amazon and the vendors.
Probably, yes. I think this is the one you are mentioning, right? What happens in the background of your vendor? So how are the
Yeah,
products?
because they have to sign up to Amazon and they have to have their
Exactly.
all the contract with Amazon.
Exactly. Some seller related
One
transactions.
is that one, and one contract they have with even the people who deliver. They have contracts with them. Either it's Amazon or private
No.
vehicles.
Okay. Then,
Sorry,
I mean, anything else? Any other transactions that we?
other transactions.
Okay, probably I'll put it this way. You received the book, you received the product, but
Mhm.
it is not as what you expected. So what we do?
Oh, we go to Amazon and go back to the place
Mhm.
where we purchased it to the site, and we give that we are not
Exactly.
happy with it,
Right.
or we want a refund, or we want to exchange, or something like that.
Exactly. So it could be a return transaction or it could be an exchange transaction, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Or I can take some subscriptions, right? Or I can unsubscribe. So all
Oh, yeah,
these
Amazon membership, and also
correct,
you have membership to
sort of,
Audibles or
sort of like
anything else.
Prime
Amazon
members,
Prime, yeah, yeah, yeah,
yeah, Amazon ebooks or Kindle sort of. Yes, I can consider all of these as transactions.
yeah,
Correct. Now, if I'm able to manage all of these together on a single unified platform, that's what I call BPM, Business Process Management.
yeah,
Right? So, whatever transactions your organization is dealing with, if you're having one tool to look after all of those, I can call it a BPM tool. In fact, the purpose of having a BPM tool, where you will be able to design your transactions, you will be able to analyze them, you will be able to execute, you'll be able to build reports out of it, right? You will be able to automate things. A lot of stuff is possible when you're dealing with the BPM tools, right? And I don't generally purchase a BPM tool for a single customer, right? Or a single actor is involved. I don't need a BPM tool for it.
yeah.
I can just, deal with any other programming languages, Java, .NET, or anything else could be used.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it will be expensive. It will be not cost effective if you're just using
Exactly.
it. Yeah.
Yes. So there's no purpose of using a BPM there. Right? So the
Yeah.
right purpose is not served. So when you're choosing to deal with the BPM, so we need to check all of these things, whether there are multiple actors or whether there are some decisions being involved. Is there an outcome for it? So we need to check all these things and then we can suggest a BPM tool to the customer.
Mhm.
Yes. And when I say a BPM, it needs to follow a certain set of standards, like any other language, any other platform. Right? Suppose there's Java. So Java is built upon the OOP concepts, object-oriented programming concepts, right? Now,
Mhm.
suddenly I say that I've built my own OOP-based language. I say that. So how would you believe me? You definitely ask me to prove it.
Yeah, still you need to have the basic principles of that, the way you
Exactly.
built
So
it.
it needs to satisfy all my OOP concepts. Like there are some objects, classes, there's some encapsulation, polymer. So all these, if they satisfy, I can say it is a BPM tool, or sorry, an OOP tool. You will believe me. Similarly with BPM also, if I come and say, yes, Pritika, I've built my own BPM tool, she would ask me, prove it. So I should say, like, see, my BPM tool satisfies all the body of principles. We have some 10 best principles for a BPM tool. So any tool, if it claims to be BPM, it has to satisfy those 10 best principles. Okay. Yeah, I'm not going into the detail of these body of principles, but yeah, if any tool claims to be a BPM tool, it needs to definitely satisfy these body of principles.
Mhm.
Rest of it, I should be able to design things. I should be able to automate my transactions. I should be able to draw reports out of it. So all these like should be possible. Okay?
Yeah.
Now, let us quickly check on some benefits of these BPM tools. So this is not specific to Pega. So any BPM tool you take, these are the advantages we get out of it. So the first thing is agility. It's the ability for an application solution to adapt as per the environment. Right? Because when it comes to an application, so it has to adjust to a lot of external and internal factors. Right? So external factors could be like changes in some government rules, policies, taxation stuff. So all these, I mean, maybe competitors. Right? So all these are the external factors that may impact your application or may impact your solution. Right? So your solution should be in a format that it should be able to adapt your changes. Okay. And sometimes you might have some internal changes like maybe changes in the leadership or some organizational restructuring and all, which might bring in some new strategies, like new business policies. So all of these, whatever the change may be, internal or external, your application has to be able to take it up. And BPM has this advantageous aspect of agility. Then productivity. So when you try to streamline your business processes, right? So every transaction would go in the same manner. So it definitely means the employees could be a little more productive than what they were earlier. Okay, because your process is all streamlined, so they can concentrate a little more on customer issues and stuff rather than just working on the transactions. Okay? Transparency. So whenever you have all the business transactions or processes, when you are able to look after them visually, like you get to know the status of each one of them. So it's a little more transparent here. So there's nothing to hide. Right? So even when we when we look after our Amazon order, if you track the order, you will be able to clearly see where the
Yeah.
product has, where is it, what time it left that Amazon facility. You'll be able to clearly see the details, right? So there's nothing to hide, or there's nothing to not show up. So everything is transparent here, right? And then customer focus. So the major focus here is the customer, addressing the customer issues, or looking after the customer is a major focus. So for all your BPM tools, they are customer-centric applications, right? So it's the customer's view of the application, not the developer's view, or not the employee view. Rather, it's the customer's view. And then you have consistency, repeatability, and transferability. Okay. Now, suppose you have placed an order with Amazon. Okay. Probably I also placed an order. So these are like two different transactions. Correct?
Mhm.
Assuming both of us are like same sort of customers, some prime customers, both of us are. Now, the way in which your transaction goes is very similar to how my transaction goes, right?
Yeah.
It's not like a packaging is missed for you, or no, it's not like we have different paths. No, we don't have it.
Yeah,
Both
it's
the
the same path. It's the
same path. Exactly. So that brings a lot of consistency to the application. So every transaction is considered, you know, as how it is designed to be. And then,
yeah.
there comes a lot of repeatability also, because every transaction, probably both of us have placed transactions. There are 1,000 other customers who place their transactions.
So
Everything.
you mean something like workflow, isn't it? So you build each of
Exactly.
the workflow for
Exactly.
each. Okay.
Then sustainability. Whenever I have agility as an advantage, obviously it leads to sustainability, because my application can sustain if it's able to adapt uh, changes. It's more sustainable.
Mhm.
Okay. Last
In a sense,
aspect.
easily able to change it if any changes happens in the market or anything.
Exactly. Yes. Yes. For different markets, there might be different restrictions. There might be different laws, taxations. So if I'm
Yeah.
able to my
I think that's one of the use of one of the main advantage, I think, isn't it? Pega has.
correct, right. I think there are others. I mean, as we are talking in the context of e-commerce, so
Hmm.
there are other, e-commerce businesses, like there's some eBay, or there's some other, there are others also, but
Yeah.
they're not sustainable because they are not ready to accept changes.
Change
So definitely the sustainability is what brings a longer life to your BPM tools.
business.
Correct, correct. And then the measurability. So you should be able to build up some reports, correct? Because what all business
Yeah.
wants is, or what all leadership wants is the reports. So they do not want a customer one-on-one feedback
Yeah.
or a chat.
Transaction, but they want everything to.
Exactly. They wanted it in a very high level. So how many
Yeah.
can have been done in the last month? Right, so they tend to check why are these many cancellations happening. Are the customers not happy, or are we not providing enough products? So they tend to change their decision strategies, and that's how they start working on building
The
the
strategies.
is correct. So measurability is also one key factor when it comes to BPM solutions. This applies to any BPM. So we have a lot of other BPM tools other than Pega. So you have
Yeah.
TIPCO, Nintex. There's
Yeah. IBM.
so
Yeah.
that's nice.
Yeah.
So yeah. So when it comes to these market reviews for various BPM tools, so
Mhm.
this agreement is between the research frequency and the customer satisfaction score. So if you observe, the research frequency of Pega is quite high compared with all the other tools. So when you look at even the Pega's versions, so they come up with versions very quickly. So probably like every 2-3 months, they come up with a new version, a new feature. So the research frequency is quite high. Right? And this could also be a reason for few clients not wanting it. Could be a bit of disadvantage here as well. Right? For example, if I start my application in 8.2, right, Pega's 8.2, within the next 2 months, they release this 8.3. So I should also start working on the upgrading. Right?
So just a question here. So once you do a certification, you need to still that certification doesn't hold good for you, or you have to
No,
keep
nothing.
doing certificate.
Not required. Not required. So at least on the if suppose when you look at the versions, so we have 6, 8, and all. Right now within
Yeah.
8, there are other versions as well, like 8.1, 8.2, 3, 4, now 6.
Yeah. Now 6,
So
I think, isn't it, the recent one?
correct. Now there are people who have been certified on 8.1, so it is still fine. But people who are certified in 6.7, they might look at getting certified again on the latest version. So there's no compulsion. Like it's not mandatory that whichever version Pega comes up with, I should be certified in it. Not required.
Yeah, but just to be up to date. But certification ones, because once you do a BA, then you can go for a lead certification, isn't it? You can go for different kinds of certifications.
Correct. So, I mean, think about the roles and certifications. For the BA role, we only have one certification. It is
Okay.
PCBA.
Oh, but I think there's no, the lead ones, there's no certification for lead BA.
Lead is in the development. That's
Oh,
LS.
only
Correct.
for this
Only
one, it's not there.
correct. For BA role, there's only one certification.
Mhm.
When you go to the technical, I mean, completely development, then you have like 3 levels of certifications there. Certified system architect, which is the beginner's level, certified senior system architect, which is like the intermediate level, and then lead system architect. That's the only highest level.
Okay. So you usually, as a business architect, interact with the lead system architect, isn't it? They're the
Exactly.
ones. Yeah.
Yes. So yes, I mean, it's not like a one BPM tool is good, others are not good, nothing like that. So each one has its own advantages and disadvantages. We just need to choose whichever works best for us. Right?